Hey everybody, this is Cam Wisdom, and this time we're going to be taking on Magneto. So, let's get into that. I'm not sure if this is really a character analysis, but we'll kind of say it's more of a, is he a hero, is he a villain, and there's a lot of different opinions on this. For me, it's very easy for me to classify him as a villain, but there's a lot of people who think he's a hero. But let me just give you my perspective and reasoning on why he is a villain. First, I want to get into the earlier issues of Magneto because he's very different early on when we first meet him. He's more of this diabolical world domination type. And Magneto's goal really isn't world domination per se. It's the advancement of mutants. He wants mutants to be in control. I think Magneto would easily give up control as long as mutants are part of it. He just does not want humans to be the one dominant species because he knows how bad it's been. He has a lot of history and has seen what humans have done. With that being said, it's easy to understand why Magneto is like this. And this is why I think a lot of people excuse his actions. But his actions to me can't be excused. Anyone who is attempting genocide of a species cannot be viewed as a hero. That's just me. He's killed plenty of people for his goal. He would kill anyone to accomplish his goal. Now, I don't want people to think that Magneto is not remorseful. He shows a lot of remorse for his actions, and it even shows in the issue where he injures one of the X-Men, Kitty Pryde. I gotta do definitely a character thing on her. I didn't really like Kitty, but anyway, that's off the subject. He shows a lot of remorse when this action happens, and it pretty much causes his plans to come to a halt because this is not something he wants to do. He does not want to inflict harm upon any mutant. Now, if Kitty was like a human, I'm pretty sure he just goes about his merry way and Kitty keeps on doing it. He keeps on going on and trying to accomplish his mission. But the point of me saying that and showing you guys this is that there is a very compassionate soul in him, which is very, I'll say, unique for a villain. Because it's not every day that you have this compassion in this type of person who wants to be a world leader. Now, villains, they can show compassion. It's just usually not done when they want world domination. Like you can see compassion in someone who's just robbing banks, someone who's just out to get fame, stuff like that. Other types of villains whose goal is not really world domination. It's more of just getting money. So you can see where they can have compassion. You can understand why some villains are robbing something because they might have came from a horrible background. Something happened in their past where they're now different. But with Magneto, this is world domination. You're not supposed to have this level of sympathy, or at least we're not used to seeing this level of sympathy from these type of villains who go after world domination. Dr. Doom, for example, even though he does show some compassion, probably, but I would say if he's going for world domination, its compassion level is really, really, lowered. People like Lex Luthor, there's a lot of other ones I can think of, but his compassion level is just not there. They're not really shown to be compassionate because they have a job to do. You get rare glimpses of it, but with Magneto, you can have every issue where he can kill somebody and then yet save another mutant and stuff. You can't have that with most villains. You can't have a villain saving a person and then killing someone. It just doesn't balance out that way. But with Marvel, they were able to find a great balance with Magneto. That being said, he has his good flaws and bad flaws. There was one issue that was really a good issue to me, but there was one issue where he was leaving the fate of the human race into this one guy's hand. It was a whole issue about him just talking to this guy, seeing if he was going to convince him to save the human race. Now, of course, the X-Men were going to have something as well to say about that. But in his mind, which is also somewhat of a villainous nature, is that this is it. You have to make me change my mind or I'm going to commit genocide. And that speaks to that villainous nature that is in him. I really recommend that issue. That issue, one of my favorites as well. Usually I have a lot of favorite issues where it's not them battling each other. It's like character development type of stories where it's not even a main villain. It might just be a hero or just a straight villain story. I just love those stories where it's not really conflict per se with the main stars, but there's big character development in a normal story. those are usually one of my favorites. Well, now that we say something bad, we say something good. In the trial of Magneto, when Professor Xavier is dying or going to die, he comes back, doesn't really matter. In this instance, he thinks that Xavier is dying dead, and what Xavier asks Magneto to do is to leave the school, which says something completely just out of bounds. It's just out of bounds for this to happen. Well, not out of bounds, I should say. It's just weird for it to happen, because you don't ever see that. You'll never see Batman asking the Joker to lead. You'll never see Spider-Man asking Green Goblin or Carnage to lead. Just don't see that in most villain hero type of dynamics. If anything, it's a last resort where they have to team up, but they really don't want to. It's sort of a last resort, but it's not really. Actually, I can't say it's a last resort, because Xavier could ask anybody. He doesn't necessarily have to ask Magneto. He really wants Magneto to reform and change, and Magneto is that type of character that he can actually reform and change, which I think a lot of people see that. They see that hero nature in him, that wanting to be better, to want to better yourself, which is why I think people believe he is a hero. But at the end of the day, he's not. Anybody willing to commit genocide for your own selfish goals, because at the end of the day, it's still a selfish goal. Even though you want to save the mutant race, you believe you're the only one who can do it, and you have to do it your way. So to me, that speaks to the villainous nature, like I said, in him. But that's what makes Magneto so interesting. He has this 50-50 type of balance in him. The 50-50 balance is 50% good, 50% bad. You can understand why he's built this way. You can understand why he would be willing to commit genocide when he goes through a Holocaust, or you go through that type of thing. Anybody can really understand why. Now, personally, I know I said he's a villain, but personally, let's just say I was a mutant. Are you guys in the comments below? If you were a mutant, which side would you want to be on? I probably would have picked Magneto's side. I couldn't really go with that peaceful approach that Xavier would go for. I'd probably try it out. But after you see the X-Men fail so many times, and you see humans willing to kill and have mutants as slaves, you kind of get to the point where you're like, okay, we gotta just fend for ourselves, and we might have to go to war. It just comes to that point. You get to that point, and that's where you can see why people go with Magneto and why they say he's a hero, because they believe the evil type of government or evil type of people who are rounded up mutants, putting them as slaves, killing them. They believe that is the villain and Magneto is the hero trying to save them. But where it gets all jumbled up is you can't then go commit genocide. He's not just talking about killing the people in power. He's talking about taking out all the humans. So mutants are the one race. They're the master race. I probably, like I said, would join Magneto if I'm a mutant, just because if I'm seeing all that, I'm going with Magneto. But then again, if the X-Men got all this power, you gotta kind of rethink it. Like, who has the most power? I'll probably be better with the peaceful approach. But yeah, I'll probably put the issue number in the description or in the annotation. And yeah, just comment, subscribe, like. Hopefully we'll be doing more. Really like this video. Really love discussing Magneto and his actions, the stuff he does. Great character. Great to see what decisions he makes, and great to see the debate on if it's right or not. Anyway, I'm out. It's Cam Wisdom. Peace.